konnichiwa. Welcome to the Thenupurtewarishow and Jai Hind, the special episode on Indian Army, the shield that defends India. And today I feel so privileged to have General VP Malik as my guest. And he doesn't need any introduction, definitely. So without any introduction, I would like to welcome him on this show. General VP Malik, it's my privilege to welcome you to the Thenupurtewarishow. Jai Hind, sir.
Jai Hind, Nupur. My privilege to be on your show.
Thank you so much. And it's like, as I said, that I'm a big time Army fan, though nobody from my family was in Army, even still not. But I feel the courage Army shows that, it's like, it's beyond like we think. To me, it is, they're heroes, all of them are. So I would love to know, all these questions are going to be definitely my personal, because I'd love to know actually what made you think to join Indian Army. Like, did you decide before that that no, this is something I want to do in my life, or did you just feel that this is something I'm destined for? What was the reason?
Nupur, when I was growing up in school, I did have some contacts in the army, contacts in the sense that my father had served in the army during Second World War, and I had some other relations. My maternal uncle, he was in the army. He had joined the army. And while in school, I'm talking of 50s, mid-50s, one realized that India has gone through partition, and our borders not very safe, particularly with Pakistan at that time. We had already fought a war against Pakistan. And the other thing was that the social status that the army officers enjoyed at that time, the respect that they got in the society was also, it made a great impression on me. So as soon as I finished school at that time at 10th class, I decided to join the army, and I appeared for examination for that, got through a written examination, got through interviews, and I landed up in National Defense Academy, which had been established in Karakwasla at that time. And so from the age of 15 and a half, I have worn uniform. And it has been a great privilege. And at the end of service, I retired in 2000. I would say it's been a great satisfaction also in life that you've done something good. You've done something which satisfied you and my family also. So that is how I joined the army, and I stayed with them for such a long time.
So from age of 15 to 2000, the journey. So age of 15 to, and that was the year of, which year was it?
1955, I joined National Defense Academy. And then for 4 years, I was under training. 3 years in National Defense Academy and 1 year in Indian Military Academy, which is an exclusive army training. National Defense Academy trains people from the Army, Navy, and Air Force, all three of them together. But Indian Military Academy, where you spent the last year, which is located in Dehradun, that is exclusive for the army people. So I did 4 years of training, and before I was 20, I had been commissioned in the army.
So 1958 to 2000, these years, you have seen so many wars. So many
59,
wars.
I got the commission in 59. As I said,
59.
4 years. Yeah.
Okay. So 1959 to 2000, it's 51 year, your service. 51 year. It is 41 year, I guess. 41 years. My math is, I'm very bad at math. So yes, 41 year. So this 41 year, you have seen so many wars in your life, you know, and then after that, when you came back to normal civilian's life, from that, being a general, leading the Indian army, and one of the best armies in the world, and then you come back to the civilian's life. So that thing we would love to know, how difficult was it to adjust in this life?
First thing I want to tell you that when you have served for so long in the army, I was lucky to have served for so long. There are many people who don't serve that long because your retirement age keeps on getting enhanced as you grow in the ranks. So while you may leave the army when you retire, but the army doesn't leave you. So it remains inside you and it continues. So it wasn't difficult really. You know, everybody retires from the army. If you've been lucky, you will live that long. And it wasn't a difficult period. It took a little time for me to realize that I need to keep myself busy and need to keep doing something. So I got involved in National Security Advisory Board for some time. The government nominated me for that. And then I raised a think tank called Observer Research Foundation in New Delhi, along with some other colleagues. I have been on the board of several companies as an independent director. I have written a couple of books. I have written many chapters in other professional books. Off and on, I keep writing even today. And I keep sharing my experiences now. I would say spend more time in sharing my experiences, both from the army and the civil life thereafter. Primarily on strategic issues, but also on leadership and management issues.
So you kept yourselves totally busy, totally with something or something, whatever you liked, you just kept doing. So now we are going to the your author's life. Like, when did you feel that I should pen down my experience or the thing happened in my life? Like, did you feel after retirement or before retirement?
No, I think it was soon after my retirement. And, you know, the circumstances in our country, I think they need to be described. First is that our people do not have adequate education on strategic issues, you know, on foreign policy, on defense policy. And one felt that I need to share those experiences to make more people aware of these policies. And, you know, in a democratic country, unless the people are aware of such issues, they don't get reflected in the policy that the government makes. So that was one aspect. That the other aspect was, unfortunately, there are not very many military history books, particularly post-independence, after we got independence. Second World War and when the British were in India, those are different. But after independence, not many books have been written. And one of the reasons was that the government of India had not been declassifying the material that was there because of security issues and all, which again was doing a lot of harm in not bringing about awareness amongst the people. So that was another reason I thought that, no, I need to write something myself, my personal experiences, so that it becomes a part of history, and then we can learn lessons from that in future.
Wonderful. This is the way, even after, as you said, that military doesn't leave you, army doesn't leave you, that is with you, and you just keep continuing and keep contributing to the nation, whatever way. I think that is the feel I always ask, even I was thinking today also that I teach at school in Japan, and today I just teachers here, they amaze me with their qualities. So I was thinking, why not taking some of them to India and train a few of our teachers? I'm not saying that Indian teachers are definitely not bad, of course not, but few things India has, few things Japan has, it would be great. So that same way, I'm going to ask you the question, like, do you feel that today's youth should be at least a year should be trained by army personnel, Indian youth?
I was trained. 4 years is a long time, and the
Hmm.
training never stops in the army or any other defense service. It's a continuous process. In fact, one of the most important thing that I always tell people on leadership is that leadership is not one-time training. It has to remain continuous in your life, and you have to keep learning nuances of leadership over and over again. So, with that experience, I do manage to go to schools and colleges and behave as a teacher myself and try and, as I said, pass on whatever knowledge that I have to students, boys and girls, both students as well as in the schools as well as in colleges. And I continue to do that. In fact, um, I think on the 29th or 30th of this month, 30th of this month, I will be speaking to students of Banaras Hindu University,
Wow, that's
and
great.
I'll be sharing my views on leadership, management, and also on the strategic issues that India faces today, strategic challenges that India faces today. So I continue to share my both knowledge as well as experience.
But the discipline actually the army has. I'm not saying the same discipline the civilian they have to have. This is really difficult because army personnel, they go through 4 years training. But when the civilian and army, the difference is very high. I think when that, especially when it comes to discipline and when it comes to respect to each other. So here, I don't know, personally I felt like there should be some kind of training everywhere by the army personnel, that at least the discipline, when it comes to discipline, especially in India, we just take everything like jugar. I think you have heard the name of. I'm not saying always jugar bad, but not always good as well, which actually army doesn't do. Army is very well trained and they don't believe in jugaad, I guess, but we all need to do sometime. It is totally different story. So here I feel that it is my personal thing, at least all the youth, Indian youth, they need to go through at least a few months training by army personnel. So your personal view, would love to know on that.
Firstly, jugaad is not such a bad word. Jugaad also means innovation. So to that extent, if you keep
Yes.
innovating, it's a good thing. Uh, Army training in public. India is a huge country and a very large population, as you know. And I don't think it would be right for us make to make every person, a boy and a girl, to go through army training. I think it is not necessary, particularly when we have a very large number of people who are already volunteering, both boys and girls again. But a certain amount of army discipline, as you were saying, and a certain amount of knowledge about the armed forces, I think is a good thing. And personally, I feel we should not have compulsory service, but we should have boys and girls go through National Cadet Corps training as much as possible. Now, you've been in India and you know NCC has
Yes.
been there in schools and in colleges. So,
Yes.
my recommendation would be that we should have NCC in maximum number of schools and colleges in India, and we should make it so attractive that more and more boys and girls go through this. And it's not only for discipline, but it is also brings in camaraderie, it brings in greater awareness about the armed forces, patriotism, makes
Mhm.
you feel for your nation. So
True.
all those good qualities can be picked up if our boys and girls, our youth go through NCC training.
True, exactly. So that is actually, yeah, it is very good a message for the youth that it can be more attractive, and it can attract more youth, and they can know about the country more and know about the armed forces more. So this is NCC is really good platform for youth. Yes, as you said.
Yes.
Now we are going back to your service time, that time when you served as a general. So I'd love to know which was your like difficult decision. Have you ever felt like this is the decision I don't want to take, or really I have to take for the country, or like anything, those kind of experience? Have you ever felt like anything uncomfortable or most comfortable? We would love to know your experience at that time as a general.
Look, decision making is one
Mhm,
of the most important thing that you learn in leadership training.
mhm,
And as you rise in your rank, I joined as a second lieutenant, and then, as you know, became a captain, as a major, and a colonel, and a brigadier, and general, and finally I reached the top when I headed the whole army, 1.1 million soldiers at that time when I became army chief. So you keep learning.
1.1 million army soldiers you hated. Wow,
Yes.
that's really amazing. And I'm talking to General VP Malik. Such a privilege. I cannot thank to Almighty. Really, I'm so grateful. And 1.1 million soldiers. So for the viewers, can you imagine that 1.1 million soldiers he headed, and he is such a you know what should say that such a down to earth. And this is actually, it can happen only in Indian Army. It is really no, why I'm saying, because I have been experiencing it. So I'd say that it can happen, that attitude, that uh, politeness, that down to earth thing only can come from Indian Army. Sorry for disturbing. Sorry for I interfered, but yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. Please continue.
Yes, but let me tell you that we were talking about decision making, and we were talking about reaching the top of the army level as far as ranks are concerned. You keep learning decision making, as I said, part of your leadership training, which goes. And let me also tell you, to uh, reach the position of head of the army is also a privilege and an honor, because in that 1.1 million, there's only one person who commands that army. And so it was a great privilege and an honor for me to be doing that for 3 years. Uh, you have to take decision. First thing that you learn is that whatever be your, it's part of your duty. That when you are a leader and when you face a situation, whether it is in war or it is in peace, people look up to you, and then they expect you to give a decision finally. So uh, when you give a decision, you have to take into account your responsibility and your duty and also your authority. All these three things have to be considered. When I became army chief, for all responsibilities of the army, for all the charter of duties given to the army, the buck stopped at my table. It was a great responsibility because you had to manage the personnel in the army, and you were responsible for the security of the country along its border. And as you know, India has border problem with both Pakistan as well as in China, and we continue to fight with them off and on because of the undecided border. Also, internal security, we have a responsibility. Sometimes there are internal security problems. Then we also have to assist the government in aid to civil authority. Whenever they need our assistance, we give it to that. Particularly, we give it to the civil administration, particularly during natural calamities or disasters like tsunamis or earthquakes and floods and things of this nature. So one has to be prepared for all these. And for all major decision, the army would look at its chief, army chief, for that. I fought during 1962 war. I was with the army captain at that time, posted in Ladakh sector. 1962 war, we fought against China. If you recall, you wouldn't have been born at that time. And then went through 65, not in active operation, but in 1971 again. And then the major war that we fought was in 1999, Kargil war, as you know. And at that time, I was army chief and chairman, chiefs of staff committee, which means heading the within Navy and the Air Force also. They're part of their colleagues, but well, you are senior amongst the three equal people. So I would say that the major responsibility and a major stress, a strain that I faced was perhaps during Kargil war, because as I said, the buck stopped at your shoulder. And if you fail, well, you will go down in the history as an incompetent man. The whole nation will look down upon you, single nation. So that becomes, and we were fortunate. Army is a big organization and a great organization. So I won't take the credit for winning the Kargil war. I would give it to the soldiers who fought with me, who fought under me, who took my orders. And so I would say that Kargil war was perhaps the most stressful period in my life from the point of view of duties and responsibilities.
So here, as you mentioned, that stress, strain, and what actually army chief he goes through. But here, the family's support is most important. What actually, we all take interviews of army general and chief of army and all those, but we hardly take interviews of their wives actually, and they go through a lot. So I would love to know, how was the support from Mrs. Malik here?
Nupur, firstly, as I told you earlier, my wife was also in the army for 5 years as a doctor. So she has experience of that. And in any case, she has lived with me for ever since we got married, and she has seen the army life. You are absolutely right. We always say that the force behind the forces is the army wife and the family. And if somebody was to ask me today that what or how you went through those stresses and strain, I'm not talking of my professional responsibilities, but I'm talking of my being a balanced person, taking balanced decisions and all. So one of the credit that I always give is to my family, my wife and my children. In fact, if you were to ask me my own belief as far as going through stresses is concerned, we are all believers. I'm sure you are also a believer, so am I. Most of us, whichever, it doesn't matter which religion, which thing, but we do believe in some, And second thing, I would always say that the family is your stress buster. And if you maintain good relations in the family, It can be extremely helpful in keeping you in a balanced situation, balanced thing, to be able to take the responsibilities in your stride.
So
And
if you, yes,
I would also say, are they the men you command, the people who work under you? If you maintain good relations, if you have a good camaraderie with each other, and they respect you for what you have been doing, what you have done in the past, and they accept you as a good leader. Now, that also can be an important stress buster because they have confidence in you and you have confidence in them, and that makes it easier for a leader to go through such stresses.
definitely, the belief system should be there, and the good relation with family and the soldiers you are working with, they should believe in you. Uh, so you are the chief of them, so they should believe in you, and it would be smooth. But would love to know some stories during your 41 years. There's a huge career where you started from second lieutenant to you became army's chief. It's a dream come true, for a soldier. Like the day you joined or the day you started your life, have you thought that day that, yes, I want to reach there? Or just you thought, okay, let me just start, then I will think about it?
No, I don't think so. I never thought about that. When you joined as a second lieutenant, these days it is lieutenant, it's not second lieutenant, lieutenant. At that time, you join the army because you feel that you get a lot of respect from your subordinates, the discipline as well as respect that you get from so that is. And when I joined the army, when I became a lieutenant, at that time, my dream was to become a good commanding officer. And a good commanding officer is a lieutenant colonel rank. At that rank, you command a unit which has about 750 personnel. And they take all orders from you, And it's a good team. It's a very well-knit team. Lot of traditions, lot of camaraderie in that, in that. So your dream at that time was to become a good commanding officer, a colonel. But after that, you keep passing some examination, you keep going through the training. I never thought about becoming a chief. I only thought about my next rank. They let me keep doing good so that I can pick up the next rank. So it was thereafter, perhaps you can say step-by-step approach. So you became a brigadier, and then you wanted to do well as a brigadier, so you became a general. And when you were doing well as a general, if you did well as a general, you became, and finally you reached the top. So that is how the life has been in the army.
This is a very good mantra for youth, I guess. So rather, just thinking about that, the reaching to the top, if you just keep doing and where you are doing your best and think about the next, I think that will take you to the top. This is a very good management lesson, I guess.
But
Yes.
that's how the life has been.
Yeah, definitely. And we got you as a chief of army. That is, we are also privileged. India is lucky to have you. And definitely, we'd love to know. There's some normal question. What is your favorite food? From chief of army to your favorite food. We are coming. We'll talk about everything. What is your favorite food?
No, but I'm not very fussy about food.
Okay.
Firstly, I must tell you that I'm not very fussy, but I enjoy both continental dishes as well as Indian dishes.
Okay.
And fortunately, in India, we have a very large variety of cuisine, as you know
True.
yourself.
True.
And it's always very enjoyable to keep tasting food from different parts of India. So although I'm a Punjabi, but I love all kinds of Indian food. I'm a non-vegetarian, and but I'm not very fussy about what time, when, good food, bad food. If I'm hungry, I'll eat anything, and if somebody gives me good food, I always appreciate that.
Great. So we'll be waiting in Japan to feed you sushi.
No, I've been to Japan. I've been to Japan a number of times, and I have enjoyed Japanese food also. Somehow, I haven't got much liking for sushi. I have to confess that. And even in Japan, I must tell you that I have enjoyed Indian food, because some of the restaurants that have come up now in Japan, Indian restaurants, they serve very good food. Whether it is Tokyo or even the other cities. Long time ago, I had gone to Kyoto, and I remember there also getting good Indian restaurant there, getting good food. So now, of course, a large number of first time when I went to Japan was in 1986, and there were not many Indian restaurants at that time. But now one sees a very large number of Indian restaurants.
Yes,
And
that's
as
true.
I said, Japanese food is good, except I would say the same thing for sushi myself.
Yeah, yeah, of course, it's totally the your own choice. Food is totally your everybody's own choice, definitely. But yes, when you are here, definitely we'll be preparing Indian food from different parts of India. So yes, as you said, there are many restaurants are in Tokyo and other parts of. When 86, when you came here, there are only few, I think 1,000 or 2,000 Indians at that time, maybe 1,000. But now at 40,000 Indians diaspora in Japan. So it's really big, and a lot of businesses, a lot of restaurants are coming up. So this is really great. So we'll be really, we will look forward to welcoming you with Indian food. Yeah.
Thank
So, and this is going to be my last question. That what would be your message for today's youth? Actually, those today's youth, for many reasons, they are not very, I would not say they're not focused, they're focused, but they're confused. Actually, today's youth a bit, there are a lot of social media, there are many things like which we did not have 20 15 years, 20 years ago. And today things are the world has become really very small, and people can access anything, so very distracting. Things are very distracting. So it is for youth, they need a lot of focus. Like, people are, maybe they're achieving in materialistic life, but they're losing their happiness. The balance is not there. So your message for like the happy life, we can see that you had a happy life, a really happy life, and you have achieved both way, materialistic and here also your family, good family, family support, everything. So for the youth, your message really very much needed today.
Firstly, I must tell you that I have great faith in the youth, and the youth today is quite different. I would say, if we were to compare our ages, when I was 15 years old, and when we compare that with 15 years old, a boy today or a girl today, I find that the new generation is far more aware than we were. Effect of
True.
globalization,
True.
effect of media, and all. And I have great faith in them. Uh, nobody should doubt their sincerity. They have the sincerity and they have the potential, whether it is for the country, for the human beings. So that's something good in them that one sees. Now, I agree with you that there are far too many distractions, and there are far too many pessimistic ideas also which float around. And the life is becoming, when you want to keep earning materialistic world, it puts a great strain on you, physically and mentally both. So I would suggest that try and live a moderate life. Don't jump to the extremes. That is one part, that a moderate life is far better than trying to achieve too much in a very short time. Things will unfold themselves for your good if you remain moderate, whether it is drinking, whether it is wearing of clothes, or where the other activities, any other activities, I would say. Similarly, I would say that do believe a certain amount in spiritualism, or as I said earlier, also believe in something, guru, or any type of God Almighty, that whichever religion that. So that is also a part of life, and don't give it up. Live a moderate life, believe in these things, and focus on what you have in hand. Focus on what you have in hand. And once you complete that, that will give you satisfaction. So don't jump into too many issues at one time, which will only distract you from the focus that you need to have. And a moderate life is always a good way of living. And don't, and also we talked about family. Luckily, I would say both in Japan and India, all of us, we do believe in family.
Yes.
And so take care of your family and remain in touch with family. It doesn't matter where you are, what you are doing. It is possible for us today to remain in touch with the families thanks to media and communications that we have got. So remain in touch with them and take care of the families. And I think with these things, one can live a good life.
Wonderful. I think these are very valuable suggestions and advice you have given. And yeah, I think that would give the balanced life. And thank you so much for joining us today. We feel honored. I'm sure the viewers will feel honored. I'm feeling honored. And we will look forward to have you again with different subjects. So we can learn more and more from you. Thank you so much. And Jai Hind.
Thank you. Thank you, Nupur. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.